Welcome to Professor Quizwell's channel, and Who Am I? United States President's Edition Volume 1. I'm Professor Quizwell and I will give you 3 clues. You'll then have 5 seconds to make your guess. Have fun and let's get started. Guess the US President. I led the country during its early years and set many precedents. I was the first President of the United States. I am featured on the $1 bill. Who am I? George Washington. Guess the US President. I was the 3rd President of the United States. I wrote the Declaration of Independence. I made the Louisiana Purchase. Who am I? Thomas Jefferson. Guess the US President. I was the 16th President of the United States. I issued the Emancipation Proclamation. I delivered the Gettysburg Address. Who am I? Abraham Lincoln. Guess the US President. I was the 35th President of the United States. I initiated the new frontier and space exploration programs. I was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. Who am I? John F. Kennedy. Guess the US President. I was the 44th President of the United States. I was the first African American President. I signed the Affordable Care Act into law. Who am I? Barack Obama. Guess the US President. I was the 26th President of the United States. I championed progressive reforms and conservation efforts. I established national parks and forests. Who am I? Theodore Roosevelt. Guess the US President. I was the 40th President of the United States. I played a key role in ending the Cold War. I survived an assassination attempt. Who am I? Ronald Reagan. Guess the US President. I was the 32nd President of the United States. I led the country during the Great Depression and World War II. I implemented the New Deal to combat economic challenges. Who am I? Franklin D. Roosevelt. Guess the US President. I was the 42nd President of the United States. I presided over a period of economic prosperity. I was impeached but not removed from office. Who am I? Bill Clinton. Guess the US President. I was the 43rd President of the United States. I initiated the War on Terror after the September 11th attacks. I served 2 terms in office. Who am I? George W. Bush. Guess the US President. I was the 34th President of the United States. I implemented the interstate highway system. I signed the Civil Rights Act of 1957. Who am I? Dwight D. Eisenhower. Guess the US President. I was the 9th President of the United States. I served the shortest term in office. I died of pneumonia a month after my inauguration. Who am I? William Henry Harrison. Guess the US President. I was the 12th President of the United States. I was a general in the Mexican-American War. I signed the Compromise of 1850. Who am I? Zachary Taylor. Guess the US President. I was the 25th President of the United States. I led the country during the Spanish-American War. I was assassinated in Buffalo, New York. Who am I? William McKinley. Guess the US President. I was the 21st President of the United States. I assumed office after the assassination of James E. Garfield. I advocated for civil service reform. Who am I? Chester A. Arthur. Guess the US President. I was the 27th President of the United States. I served as the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. I initiated progressive reforms, including antitrust measures. Who am I? William Howard Taft. Guess the US President. I was the 7th President of the United States. I was known as the People's President. I signed the Indian Removal Act. Who am I? Andrew Jackson. Guess the US President. I was the 18th President of the United States. I commanded the Union Army during the Civil War. I served 2 non-consecutive terms. Who am I? Ulysses S. Grant. Guess the US President. I was the 22nd President of the United States. I served a single term known as the Rutherford B. Hayes presidency. I oversaw the end of Reconstruction. Who am I? Rutherford B. Hayes. Guess the US President. I was the 11th President of the United States. I was known as Young Hickory. I served during the Mexican-American War. Who am I? James K. Polk. Guess the US President. I was the 31st President of the United States. I presided over the onset of the Great Depression. I implemented the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. Who am I? Herbert Hoover. Guess the US President. I was the 28th President of the United States. I led the country during World War I. I proposed the League of Nations. Who am I? Woodrow Wilson. Guess the US President. I was the 33rd President of the United States. I desegregated the armed forces. I signed the Civil Rights Acts of 1957 and 1960. Who am I? Harry S. Truman. Hope you had fun guessing the presidents. Let us know in the comments how many you got correct. Also, don't forget to try your hand at part 2. Again, thank you for playing, and please subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to try all our fun games and quizzes. Quiz on!